Oh, hey, we are in Chef Wisconsin.
J'aime le Wisconsin. Je älskar Wisconsin.
Ask Faulkner in Wisconsin.
Ik like Wisconsin.
I like Wisconsin.
Whether said in Winnebago, French, Norwegian, German, or in English, I like Wisconsin expresses a feeling Wisconsin people have shared for many years. I like Wisconsin, too. I'm Warren Knowles, and I'm proud to be governor of this state. The nations of the world have contributed their peoples and cultures towards making Wisconsin an exciting state. Our nationality groups like to salute their lands of origin by presenting colorful pageants and festivals. One can sample the cultures of a dozen countries right here in Wisconsin by traveling a route we call our Trail of Nations. We can't show you all of these fine events, but let's visit a few along Wisconsin's Trail of Nations.
Wisconsin, with its vast forests and rivers, filled with game and fish, was a home for the Indians reaching back over thousands of years. Many Indians still live in the area near the Wisconsin Dells in central Wisconsin. In the summer, they carefully recreate their old way of life for the many visitors who come to the Dells each year. Tourists enjoy seeing how Wisconsin's first citizens lived hundreds of years ago. The Indians contributed much to Wisconsin's colorful history, and they left a lasting impression still evident in such names as Chippewa, Sauk, Fox, Menominee, and Winnebago. They were followed by the French, who were trappers and woodsmen. Our second stop along Wisconsin's Trail of Nations takes us to Somerset in northwestern Wisconsin. The people of Somerset commemorate their French Canadian origins by enjoying pea soup, the French Canadian national dish. The pea soup song tells us all about it. Bastile Day gives the 900 residents of Somerset a special reason to celebrate. There's lively dancing and singing, with everyone joining in. Another of Wisconsin's interesting peoples paying their respects to a colorful past. Then on nearby Apple River, a ride on, of all things, an inner tube. A most unusual way to top off a special day in a corner of New France. The original impact of French civilization in Wisconsin has been dimmed by time, but names like Butamore, Trapelo, Fond du Lac, and Prairie du Chien remind us that we're in the ghost world of New France. This is Washington Island, part of Wisconsin's thumb that juts out into northern Lake Michigan. Like Iceland, the island is in the midst of an excellent fishing ground. Fishermen from Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Iceland came here to create one of the most unique settlements in America. Washington Island is known as the original and was at one time the largest Icelandic settlement in America. Traditions that have survived through many years make Washington Island a good place for visitors to get a glimpse of the old world. The more fortunate are able to schedule their visits during the annual Icelandic Festival. The year-round population of 600 is joined at festival time by hundreds of visitors. The coffee pot information booth portrays the old world hospitality found everywhere on the island. The local folk are dressed in authentic costumes, and they make their guests feel right at home. Foods of the Icelandic people are a special treat for visitors. Children are fascinated by the Icelandic ponies, which can survive the most severe winters but still appreciate the warm, gentle touch of little children. Visitors to Washington Island can imagine they are on the ancient Viking coast of Iceland, especially when the gulls scream. The waves pound the craggy shore. Now it's sweep-up day in Cedar Grove, a quaint farming community of 1,300 nestled near the Lake Michigan shore. It's another exciting festival on Wisconsin's Trail of Nations, as these good people from the land of the wooden shoes keep alive their old world traditions. You'd think that making wooden shoes would take many hours, but this Kloppenhauer carves a pair in just a few minutes. These may not be the most comfortable shoes in the world, but one has to admit they have a style all their own. A stroll through beautiful gardens ends sweep-up day until next year, when Cedar Grove will again be a mirror of old Holland. Most early settlers were farmers who were attracted by the rich soil and abundant rainfall that helped to ensure good crops. Others were attracted by the lead deposits in southwestern Wisconsin. The lead miners made Mineral Point a real boom town, and at one time, half the population of the state lived in the area. Their limestone cottages had extra thick walls to keep them snug in winter and cool in summer. The Cornish loved gardens and surrounded their homes with trees, bushes, and flowers. Most of the miners came to Mineral Point from the Cornwall area of England, and here you can still find a breath of Cornish history recreated for special events by the people of Mineral Point. A typical cottage had a summer kitchen in the rear, where they prepared a unique dish that has made Mineral Point famous. It's called a pasty. These were a favorite of the miners because they were easy to carry and stayed hot during the walk back to the mines. Pasties are a steaming golden brown crust filled with meat, potato, and vegetables. SHAKERAG Street was named for the custom of waving white towels at mealtime to summon the men from the mines. Mining in those days was done by pick and shovel. The ore was lifted to the surface in wooden buckets. The Cornish of Mineral Point wrote their own unique page in Wisconsin's history.
Bara takk Gud
One day each year, Norwegian becomes the official language as the people of Stoughton celebrate their biggest holiday, Syttende Mai, or the 17th of May. Syttende Mai salutes Norwegian Independence Day, and for this nostalgic celebration, local artists demonstrate a unique Norwegian craft, rosemaling. Rosemaling is typical of old world skills that were applied to the products of the New World and made Stoughton a great wagon building center. Norwegian craftsmen came by the thousands, and Stoughton was soon known as Little Norway. Today, Stoughton has 6,000 residents and is one of the state's largest Norwegian communities. It just wouldn't be a Syttende Mai without a parade down Stoughton's Main Street. The sound of an alpine horn takes us to another exciting festival in south-central Wisconsin, to New Glarus and its authentic replica of the first Swiss colony in America. During their first hard year in Wisconsin, 108 Swiss colonists lived in this single log cabin. To honor the founding of the Swiss nation, the residents of New Glarus present their William Tell Festival each Labor Day weekend. Thousands of visitors watch the people of New Glarus act out Schiller's story of William Tell. While leading the struggle for freedom, Tell refused to bow to the tyranny symbolized by a hat in the town square. His courage united the country. This timeless story is presented each year in English and German by the Swiss of New Glarus.
Säg mig då, wie ist der Name? Säg mig wer das Dörfli heißt, wo der Landslied seiner Hand deiner miteinander schweigt. Der Glocke, Glocke klingen und am Abend Jodler singen. Schön steht Dörfli in Wisconsin, heißt New Glarus, heißt New Glarus,
Swiss dairymen helped to start Wisconsin on its way to becoming America's dairyland. Much of Wisconsin's proud history is told through its celebrations and festivals. But Wisconsin is much more. It's a beautiful state. And it's a state of great cities. The largest is Milwaukee, a dynamic city moving ahead. Here, the skills and energies of Germans, Poles, and other peoples of the world have joined to build great industries while preserving their own colorful traditions.
Milwaukee provides a logical and exciting conclusion to our trip along Wisconsin's Trail of Nations. For in Milwaukee, we see that vigorous blending of the peoples that made this country great. A focal point of Wisconsin's international character is the International Institute of Milwaukee County, a United Fund agency. The Institute is a gathering place for people who have immigrated to America and to Milwaukee. They represent many different countries, and here at the Institute, they all work together to help foreign-born newcomers find a new life in our city.
The Institute is a warm and friendly place. The staff helps the newcomer find a home and a job. They help him meet others from the land of his birth, because it is easier to build a future in a strange land when one is among friends. As part of this program, the International Institute sponsors many social events. Each November, these many small events are combined to create the Holiday Folk Fair, the greatest event of its kind in the United States. The Folk Fair starts with the moving of King Gambrinus from the courtyard of the Pabst Brewing Company. As the legendary king of brewing, the 120-year-old King Gambrinus is also something of an immigrant. Today, he is surrounded by unusual excitement because he is on his way to a cavalcade. The cavalcade starts on its way through downtown Milwaukee, led by the fair's charming hostess. There are representatives of the 35 nationality groups participating in the folk fair. They wave a friendly invitation to come meet them at the fair. There's power and excitement in a 6-horse Belgian sorrel team pulling one of the bandwagons. King Gambrinus proudly waves his greetings and extends his personal invitation for everyone to join him at the Milwaukee Arena Auditorium, where everything is ready for the Holiday Folk Fair. Suddenly, you're in another world. Shall we start with Pakistan? Beautiful, intricate jewelry is displayed in its traditional settings. Then, let's visit Turkey for a moment. Belgian lace-making is almost unbelievable. Centuries melt away as Milwaukee's multicultural heritage is mirrored in these authentic crafts and costumes. Quaint, colorful, picturesque, each exhibit reflects a way of life of a far-off homeland. Displays resemble small folk museums, preserving the rich cultures of America's antecedents. Many items are crafted by methods passed on from generation to generation. They foster understanding and appreciation of what a wonderful place Wisconsin is to live in. The Latvian group and 4,000 other men and women and children have turned every corner of the arena and auditorium into picturesque reminders of the many different cultures which have combined to give Milwaukee and Wisconsin their unique flavor. It feels good to get away for a few hours from the daily routine of our lives and to enjoy this rich, colorful variety of world cultures. Long avenues of exhibits reflect ways of life long past. Would you like to meet and talk to people from the far corners of the earth, chat with them about their arts and crafts, You can do it at the Holiday Folk Fair. These wonderful exhibits have been prepared by Americans who are actually the children of many other nations. They have contributed the gifts of their hands and their hearts toward the building of a strong country, proving that a diversity of cultures is no obstacle to unity and understanding. Leaving the World Mart, you eventually follow your nose to the International Sidewalk Cafe. Hundreds of delicious and authentic foods are offered by 35 nationality groups. These are the people who put the folk into folk fare. They personify the American ideal of goodwill among all peoples. They highlight Milwaukee as the folk center of the United States. Now we're moving on to other events, past King Gambrinus to Old PABTS Park and Pavilion. A special pageant depicts the migration of these groups from their native lands to the freedom of America. Bonds of friendship and common heritage link the people of Wisconsin with each other and with their neighbors throughout the world. As freedom's story dramatically unfolds, we learn that our roots stretch across the 7 seas. Now these groups are united, saluting the country that offers them opportunity for happiness and freedom. And they salute Wisconsin, a state of great beauty, where their traditions have been preserved and woven into the colorful fabric still visible along Wisconsin's Trail of Nations.